Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Now would be a good time to go and get yourself a drink. We are going to be celebrating with the finest cheap champagne, where we get to drink and toast to the finest our industry has to offer. I'm going to have a try at this. Yeah, it'll hopefully get better during the show. Anyway, welcome to the 2014 Annual Gaming Awards, where we're going to be handing out the beasties.
Right. Over the next 3 nights, we'll be announcing the finalists for all 7 categories.
Yeah, we opted for 3 nights so we could invade your living rooms and PCs, and we could get 3 nights drinking instead of 1.
Hey!
Tonight, we're going to be looking at the best sculpt category, the best paint job category, and the best sci-fi game category. So what do you say? Let's get on with it. The nominations for Best Sculpt of 2014 are Protos Games, Guardiani, Oblati, CORVUS BELLI, ANTIPODES, Games Workshop, NAGASH, CORVUS BELLI, YOJIMBO Sword for Hire, Privateer Press, Bradicus Thor, Harry Miniatures, Foot Knights, 1450 to 1500. Privateer Press, Una the Falconer. Creature Casters, Emperor Dragon. Corvus Belli, Hakislam, Kum Motorized Troops. Privateer Press, Dozer and SMIGG. Mears Miniatures, Malacant. Games Workshop, Imperial Knight. Forge World, WARMASTER HORUS. Mears Miniatures, Bagseg. So there are nominees for the sculpting category. Now the sculpting category was an important one for us to fit into the whole awards, in that it's been pointed out to us, especially this last year, just how little credit sculptors actually get.
Yeah, that's true. And even in this category, we listed the miniatures by their companies rather than the sculptors themselves.
Yes, yes, we did. Which is something I'm hoping that we can actually fix in 2015. It's a kind of a Peace of War New Year's resolution. We want to try and give sculptors the recognition that they deserve. And I'm hoping that in next year's awards that we'll be able to actually list the sculpts based on who actually sculpted them. And it may have been 1 or more people, but it would be nice to give them the recognition that they deserved.
But the thing is, coming up next year now, we've seen the emergence of a lot of new technology for sculpting. We've seen the website, Hero Forge that we covered, which looks very good. You could almost be your own sculptor doing that.
Yeah.
But also 3D printing is coming up.
Absolutely. You know, by this time next year, who knows what this category is going to look like? You know, one of our own community members has invested in his own 3D printer. It cost a fair amount, but to be honest, it didn't cost as much as what they have. It's a fraction of the cost it used to be. And he's been creating great stuff like terrain pieces and stuff like that that look absolutely brilliant. So you're absolutely right, John. This category, I think, could be the one to watch. And that's why not only we included it in the awards, but why we decided that Best Sculpt was going to lead the actual show and be the first thing that we put out. I've got to say that the caliber of the nominations that came in from you, the gaming public, was absolutely fabulous. There is some amazing, amazing work that has went on in this category, and it's really diverse. Everything is pretty much covered in that category. So I was really pleased.
Yeah,
to
we've
see
got
that.
fantasy, sci-fi, pulp punk horror. It's all represented in there.
Yeah,
and there's a whole variety of what style of painting we see as well.
Yes, it's. I think it's a very, very interesting.
Did I say painting? I meant sculpting.
Of course you meant sculpting. Anyway, what do you say? I think I'm going to announce the finalists. With a massive 14 nominations making it through, Best Sculpt is an enormous category for us, and one that we are delighted to be presenting tonight, and one that we're very much looking forward to seeing what happens to it in the future. But without further ado, let's see who the finalists are for Best Sculpt. Forge World, WARMASTER HORUS. CORVUS BELLI, ANTIPODES. CORVUS BELLI, Pakislam, Kum, Motorized Troops. Harry Miniatures, Foot Knights, 1450 to 1500. So there we have our 4 finalists for Best Sculpt. Remember to tune in to see who wins on finals night. Okay, let's move on to the next category. The nominations for Best Paint Job of 2014 are Matt DiPietro, Bloodstone. Jen Haley, Harvester of Souls. Jeremy Bonap-Thibault, Enchantress. Tommy Soul, Flower Knight. Angel Heraldez, Coom Riders. Uhun, World Eaters Contemptor Dreadnought. Marique Reimers, Kraken's Mistress. Romain Lapat, The Last Light. Meg Maples, Magneto. David Wesnick, GURKA the Red. So there we have our nominees for Best Paint Job. Yeah, actually, there's a few things to be said about this category. First, it was the one where we got the vast majority of comments saying, "Oh, that was so hard to choose." Okay, and we did see a big spike of people who just could not pick for that category. It was just the quality of painting in this industry has just exploded.
Yeah, and speaking as one of the news writers, it is so good to see these miniatures painted up. So often we see them pictured without a paint job, but they look so good with these paint schemes on.
Yeah, it's simple. Like I can attest to that. Having watched Beasts of War build over the last 5 years, I remember in those early days where we had far more miniatures coming through as greens or as just grey resin, master casts and stuff like that. Now it's just so vibrant and colourful.
You see the hobby has grown in itself in the past 5 years as well. I mean, you look at the commission painting houses that have come up, and they are teaching painters how to improve their skills. Yeah. And the companies themselves are bringing on painters and saying, "You are our house painter. We like your style. Your style fits our models. You will do that." Yeah. And the levels are just beyond imagination now.
Now we're not the only ones to have a kind of like a painting category, and there's certainly massive painting competitions out there. And I want to say a special thank you to Cool Mini or Not and their Crystal Brush competition, which is an enormous competition, and we used some of the images of these particular nominations had come from the Crystal Brush, so they'd been entered into that. But it would have been remiss of us not to include a painting category because, paint jobs and seeing beautiful miniatures is part and parcel of the whole thing of Beasts of War.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I think it's time to announce our finalists. There's no getting away from it. This was a very, very difficult category for you guys to vote on. However, vote you did. And now it's time to announce our 4 finalists of Best Paint Job. Angel Heraldez, Coom Riders. Uhun, World Eaters Contemptor Dreadnought. Romain Lapat, The Last Light. Jeremy Bonant-Thibault, Enchantress. Congratulations to those 4 finalists. I'm really looking forward to seeing which one of you guys is the winner. In the meantime, though, I think it's time to look at our final category of tonight. The nominations for Best Sci-Fi Game of 2014 are Fantasy Flight, Star Wars X-Wing. Games Workshop, Warhammer 40,000. Hawk Wargames, Drop Zone Commander. Corvus Belli, Infinity. Protos Games, Warzone Resurrection. Mantic Games, Dead Zone. Spartan Games, Firestorm Armada. Games Workshop, Space Hulk. WizKids, Star Trek Attack Wing. Soda Pop Miniatures, Relic Knights. So there we have our nominations for Best Sci-Fi Game. I'm joined by my 2 compadres.
Hello.
My brothers in arms.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of glasses here. Did the other 2 go off somewhere on their own after having a few champers?
What is going on here? Justin?
Wait, I get stuck in there.
Oh, you want to get more in there, do you?
Absolutely. So,
whoa, where did we get this?
What the hell is that?
that is the finest cheap champers that money can buy-ish.
Blah.
Right,
What did you cut it with?
Sci-Fi Gaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
We left these categories deliberately open, where we actually did categories by genre, okay? So whenever we came to design this whole awards thing, there were, let's be honest, there was a lot of complicated ways we could have done it. We could have done best sci-fi board game, best sci-fi RPG, best sci-fi.
Yeah.
But I kind of believe we're getting to the stage now where these games can hold their own against other types of games. I think we're at a stage where a board game can hold its own against a war game or an RPG or a card game.
Yeah, but so many of the community members out there now are multiple systems, so it's not just I'm a war gamer, it's I'm a war gamer, I'm a board gamer, I'm a card gamer.
Yeah.
I like the way we've handled the voting and setting up the awards. When you first suggested, I wasn't so sure, but it worked out really well.
Well, it brings a nice diversity into each of the categories. And it's a diversity that I hope will continue and will flourish in future years of these awards, you know, as we start to see more breakout games in different categories. Anyway, there's a lot of great games represented there. 2014 was a massive year for sci-fi, a huge year for sci-fi. Early on in the year, we had the whole Mutant Chronicles RPG by Modiphius, who they kickstarted that. Modiphius then, towards the end of the year, went on to announce that they're working on the Infinity RPG.
And let's not forget, Infinity got their 2-player rules, or their 2-player starter set out.
Yep, the first ever 2-player starter set for Infinity. A game that's been around now for 10 years. That's a huge milestone for them.
It's been a huge year for them because there's been Infinity 3rd Edition as well.
That as well.
Announced and due imminently. Probably the biggest thing that we saw this year was the new edition of Warhammer 40,000.
Yep.
On them lovely box sets. Oh man, they look nice.
The product quality coming out of Games Workshop this year has been amazing. It's been absolutely fantastic.
And not to mention the rate at which they've been going through and updating stuff.
Yeah, I think there's only one 40k codex they haven't touched this year as well.
And that's the Necron, so, which may well, by the time we're watching this, be out and ready to go. This is the thing, you know. They have been absolutely relentless at bringing that game to the forefront. And a little bird tells me that watch out for next year.
Oh.
Well, previously I had been saying on some of our other shows, like The Weekender, that how can Games Workshop maintain that rate of fire? You know, because surely they're not going to have to start going back over all those codexes when they're less than a year old, some of them, or just about a year old. But I'm starting to hear rumblings, but that's not necessarily what they're going to do. We could be on the receiving end of new, never
seen before.
Yeah, stuff is coming out. I'm having too much of this.
Yeah.
But we could be on the verge now of seeing a whole lot of brand new stuff.
Is that? Do you think is that connected to that job advert?
The conceptualizer.
It could well be connected to the conceptualizer, the conceptual designer.
That's what it was written down on as the weekend.
It sounds like a
conceptualizer,
like a 1980s TV show. The
conceptualizer.
I like it.
But yeah, it's as good as 2014 has been for sci-fi. 2015 is shaping up absolutely beautifully. And to top it off, and the last part of this year, we've finally seen the beta rule set for Beyond the Gates of Antares, which is Rick Priestley's new entrance into the sci-fi realm. So Rick Priestley is the guy that invented Warhammer 40,000, now is one of the top people in Warlord Games, and they're now moving into sci-fi.
And they did a really good job on that. It's really polished looking for beta rules. It really is.
Yeah, it's actually a lovely printed book if you haven't seen it on the shows, guys.
Anyway, how about I get up and announce the finalists? So here it is. This is probably the big category. It's certainly one where a lot of the heavy hitters are all represented. So now, without further ado, let's see who the finalists are for Best Sci-Fi Game. Hawk War Games, Drop Zone Commander. Corvus Belli, Infinity. Fantasy Flight, Star Wars X-Wing. Mantic Games, Dead Zone. So there are our finalists for Best Sci-Fi Game.
I can't wait.
This is going to be an interesting one.
Anyway, guys, look, thank you so much for watching. Remember to tune in tomorrow evening, where we're going to be looking at the finalists of the fantasy category and one of my favorite categories, the best accessory category. Where we get to look at all the cool terrain and everything else.
I like the fact that we included accessories in this, not just games and things.
These are all things that touch our gaming lives. Anyway, we just want to say thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow evening.